Alright, welcome back everybody. Glad you could be here. We're gonna go ahead and turn on Discord and see how everybody's been.
Come on.
He's probably trying to find that point in that video.
I did.
For my information.
I was only a minute late.
Yeah.
The answer, Devin, is you never asked that question specifically.
But it was given.
No,
I didn't ask where it was made, but it was given.
I said there are only a very few places where it is cropped up, and you said I will do more research on that later.
Oh. Okay. Well, then I'll do more research on that.
Yeah. That was the specific conversation that we had. So, that is the answer to that question. Fantastic. Welcome back, everybody. And then I had to go get a drink, actually. I would have been on time, but I had to go get a drink because I was thirsty. And my smoothie is all gone, so... Sad face.
I'm gonna spend another $5 on a booze.
Yeah, was it an Uber smoothie?
So here's the deal. They've gotten me so addicted to the smoothies that since I ran out of promotional codes for Uber, I stopped on my way home from work to get a smoothie.
Ah, nice.
And there's one kind of basically on my way home, so I'm just going to do that every day now.
Every day?
You should do
Every day.
Is pick up like 4 smoothies and then put them in your freezer.
I was thinking about that for sure. Actually, today I was like, if I get 2 smoothies and no meal, and just drink a smoothie and then put the other one in the freezer and then drink that smoothie, how does that work for like nutrition? But
terribly. Absolutely
terribly. That's why I just went with the smoothie and the banana and the chicken Caesar wrap, which was delicious. So, and I have leftover chips and queso if I get hungry later, so it's fine.
Nice.
So anyway, so you guys have a docking port, and you are slowly approaching the Fatine space yard, and what is during the brief period in which you luckily do not have to land on a planet, because
because there may or may not be something missing from the ship that we're not going to discuss right now.
Because there may or may not be landing gear. What do you guys do during the 6 hours? Is it simply just to travel there and go do what you need to do, or is anybody curious and want to like ask about anything? Also, Will, earlier I told you that there's probably some information you may need to relay to the group. I don't know if you were waiting to do that.
Yes.
Okay, waiting till the next jump to do that? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have told everybody about the magazine, BT Dubs.
Okay, so yeah, maybe you guys come out of drive, so you don't have, like, you're probably in the pilot's lay. Everybody's probably there when you come out of drive, right? And that's probably when you say it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, by the way, I saw Raquel the other day. You probably say it just like that, right?
Oh yeah, totally, like, completely nonchalant, like, it was no big deal. I was like, yeah, no, I probably would have started it with a bullshit story about some other celebrity that I read in the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone probably started to zone out at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh yeah, and they had a weird story about Raquel. Weird, huh?
What?
Do you say that exactly, Fortune?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, the religious girl, Raquel.
Yeah, Mushroom Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, they said she survived or was a savior.
Thank you.
I don't know, something.
I appreciate the chuckle.
Wait.
I find that way funnier than I probably should.
Wait, you're talking about the Raquel? One that has... Raquel? The one that has survived, like, against all odds?
Yeah, she was on our ship.
What?
I tried to give her tea. It went poorly.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're saying that you had the Raquel on this exact ship?
Right, wait a minute. Are you a religious man, Dr. Phil?
No, of course not.
Okay. I just wanted
I'm a
to know which.
scientist.
I
Oh
was-
man.
Just trying to figure out which side of the coin you're on here. So
She's the epitome of scientific intrigue. How could you not be this excited about that?
whoa.
I don't know.
We
It's
had
just kind of-
assumed that she died in a conflict. But
Yeah.
yes, this is an interesting turn of events.
If you
Are
ask
you taking
me,
a
she was
shower while you
kind
play
of
this?
boring.
Devin,
Yes.
what business is it of yours if I play starts with that number?
The business is
In the
I need
shower.
to know what you're using to play in the shower.
Yeah,
Because
that's
that
some
sounds
good
like
gear
some
right there.
fancy technology.
I mean, I would play in a bathtub if that were the case.
absolutely.
Oh,
just-
hell yeah.
Taking
I
a
have a
bath.
very elaborate microphone setup. I'm boiling water because I think I'm actually dying. So I was going to make
Oh,
Aw,
okay.
Matt.
a drink.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Oscar says we may have left her on the planet under fire. She disappeared shortly after we dropped her off. There was a conflict, and then like that little light bulb goes off, and he says, "Fisher, actually, I have something for you to look at." And he actually asks Gogo, he's like, "Can you pull up the data that we collected as we were leaving?"
Huh. She looks at you and then looks at Boomer. Like that ain't my jurisdiction.
No, you and Oscar collected that.
Yeah.
Boomer was occupied, so you were actually the one.
Wait,
I
what
think
data?
I made the. This is when you did the flyover, right?
I mean, I physically flew over, but I did not do anything other than
I
that.
swear, maybe I'm like delirious or something right now. But
No,
I swear,
Regardless.
so you guys
Sure,
did.
sure,
You
yeah,
guys
yeah.
did a
Whatever.
flyover after you had picked them up. Go.
no, you know what? I actually made the computer check.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, there's
So-
no way I did a computer roll for that.
Because Boomer was indisposed.
Yeah. Okay. So
I mean, I can pull it
No,
up
no,
for you on like the big
scratch
screen
that.
if you
You-
want.
yeah, that's all he's asking you to do is to pull up. Give him access since you probably.
Yep, doing it.
Oscar assumes
Did
if
it.
it is a part of your
Essence.
ship, as even data is, that you know exactly where it's at.
That is a massive assumption, but yes, I will
Anyway.
do just that for you.
Great. So yeah, he says if you're interested, Fisher, we did collect some information about those involved in the conflict. Perhaps you could learn something. And he gestures to the computer terminal.
Oh, yes, of course. I'll check it out immediately.
I think that's about all he's.
Perfect. All right, fantastic. So barring any other revelations, like, Raquel's still alive, you guys make the 6-hour journey in exactly 6 hours to what's the name of this place? Let's see.
God, I'd love to know what you're
You're
typing
on.
into Google right now.
I'm not actually typing anything. You'd hear my keyboard. I'm using my brain. So it's probably the shop name. Now that you look at it, Fortune, is probably Jose's Tinker and Tricks. Right?
Nice. I like it.
Jose's Tinker and Tricks. And maybe, like, on a whim, you're like, let me go to the website here.
Yeah.
And you go to the website, and you see that he specializes mostly in custom stuff,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
Not
He makes you like lowrider.
yeah, right?
Oh
he does, like, paint jobs and, like...
Your methane gas conversion kit.
Right, yeah. And your all the lighting systems.
If you want a sweet spoiler for your frigate.
Yeah, totally. Totally chrome plating, if you wanted chrome plating, absolutely. And so it's like a specialty shop, which you may realize Jose may not be the best at fixing stuff, per se.
Well, I know where he started, so maybe not.
Right, we'll see.
Yeah.
He definitely will have a couple of levels in tech astronautics at the very least.
Yeah.
So yeah, and as you're approaching, like, you give Gogo, here's the coordinates, go to this location. And as you pull up and we see Gogo coast in, and we see the gravlocks kind of lock onto the ship, and it's kind of like drug in, and then the seal between one of the exit hatches and the actual space station, they kind of lock. And as you guys are flying in here, we see a variety of different ships. We can see, like, the West Wind terminal all filled up with frigates roughly your size, and a couple of larger ships as well. We see that there are very clearly some, like, combat barges that are in a different portion of the facility. And they don't have any markings on them. You can't tell distinctly what they are from the outside. We see a bunch of fighters and stuff that are clearly from the planet. Like, this is, like, the governmental wing of one of the arms. And it's a bunch of fighters and a bunch of frigates. And also, you can see, and those of you looking on the radar or whatever, you can see that there are a couple of larger ships kind of off in the distance around the planet. Not immediately in this vicinity, and by larger I mean, like, cruiser-sized vessels, much larger than these frigates and stuff that are here. And then all of the rest of the stuff is basically a smorgasbord of personal frigates, yacht ships, a couple of, like, pleasure fighters or pleasure cruisers, a couple of, like, touristy ships that are here for repair. That kind of stuff is basically all that's here right now, besides all of that what I mentioned. And as you guys kind of pull into that section, that's when all of that occurs. And as the docking bay opens, we see Jose standing there, and we see that Jose has grown since you've seen him last. He's grown, like, a full goatee now. He's got, like, the goatee mustache. And we can see that he's wearing just, like, a basic, like, t-shirt that's got, like, a couple of, like, oil smears and stuff. A typical, like, mechanic. He's got a jumpsuit on, but it's stripped down to the waist so you can see the t-shirt. And you can see on the front of the t-shirt is, like, the huge logo of Jose's Tinkerin' Tricks. Just, like, the huge logo, because that's the advertising you get. You walk around, and if people see you, hey, that looks like a good place. And he's sitting there with like a compad, like, and you can see that behind him there's a young woman as well, perhaps maybe like an apprentice of some sort, and she's wearing a jumpsuit, but her jumpsuit is, like, perfectly clean and, like, fully on and zipped up, and, like, she's got like a brimmed hat on and, like, a baseball cap kind of thing. And she's, like, furiously, like, typing on her compad, like, obviously doing something very studious in her work. She's got, like, a pen tucked behind her ear. And as she's working on this compad, she's got, like, her tongue is, like, stuck out in the corner of her mouth, like, in concentration, as she's, like, furiously kind of working on this compad. Jose is probably about your age, Fortune. Probably grew up together. Yeah. Running the streets as they are not as they were, right? The hallways.
Yeah, the hallways.
The
corridors.
Yeah, the access hatches.
Yeah.
And the girl is much younger. She's probably about 18, right in there.
Got it.
And I assume all of you are disembarking at this time?
I am.
Okay. So all of you disembark, and or Fortune does. Does anybody else? I should say, does anybody not disembark?
No, I go along with.
Okay.
I think notably, I am not. I am not in the power armor.
That's probably.
But I have a briefcase with me.
Sure. Yeah, you're carrying it around. Makes sense. And anyone else?
I think I probably would with the revelation of that data.
Okay. With the revelation of the fact this is a TL5 space station? Is that the data you're talking about?
No, the data of when they dropped off what's her face.
Oh, right. Totally. Cool. Awesome. So you are doing that. Go-Go, are you gonna like stay on the ship?
No, I don't think so. And I think that I would take Chan with me. Give him some time to stretch his legs off the ship because he hasn't left it in like forever. So I think we would just
like forever. Yeah, you find you find him again shadowing Boomer, like in like probably one of the access tunnels. And yeah, he comes down and is going to be your escort.
Hooray!
Okay, cool. So as you all disembark and leave Boomer in charge, which is never a good idea.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's going to be a pretty secure ship. That's a pretty good idea.
That's a good point. You guys might not even be able to get back in.
True.
This is the part of the game where Boomer takes his departure by stealing a ship and leaving you guys stranded on...
Son of a bitch.
Stanley will be inside...
I was going to say The Adventures of Stanley and
yeah, Stanley's the co-pilot.
Yeah, remember when he was talking about starting that new business?
So, as you all disembark and you come out, Fortune, you see Jose with his goatee, and he kind of runs up and, you know, gives you the bro hug.
Yeah.
And says, "Oh my God, Arthur, it's been too long."
Yeah, what, like 10 years? Maybe more?
Yeah, I'd say it's about that. Here, I'd like you to meet someone. And like he holds out his arm and he's like, "This is Mel."
Hello, Mel.
She looks up and she's like, "Sup?"
So.
She goes back to working on her compad very, very quickly.
I'm like, all your workers stay this clean?
He's like, "Nah, Mel's a secretary of sorts, although she doesn't like that term too much. She's basically the only reason this is still running."
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, I mean, last time I was here, you were working on the Westwind side of things.
Yeah. He says, yeah, man, cut was too much. Finally saved up enough pennies to get my own shop. I can't wait to show it to you."
Awesome. Give me the tour.
Yeah, follow me. And he kind of like glances briefly at your companions.
Oh, I was like, oh yeah, people. I forgot about that. They're part of my crew, I guess. Who's behind me? I think
Probably Oscar, I would assume.
Oscar, yeah. I'm like, this tall guy here is Oscar. He's cool.
Pleased.
And then behind him is Dr. Philip Fisher. We just call him Dr. Phil. And then behind him is Go-Go. And then I probably lean a little closer. Probably steer clear of her.
You still haven't figured out what I did to your room, did you?
Nope.
I haven't been to my room yet, no.
It's true, yeah, he's specifically not gone to his room this whole time.
And that would be my introduction.
Okay. Yeah, and I think he says, he's like, Oh yeah, that. I'll keep that advice, but I never turn down the pretty ones. And he kind of like gives Gogo another look.
Was that loud enough for Gogo to hear?
He's got no shame.
Okay. I just kind of
He's
back
been
a little bit.
he's been slapped enough times for the both of you.
Is that why he's growing a goatee now, to soften that blow?
Soften the blow, yeah. Also to hide the bruises.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Oscar to that just says, "Flattery will get you nowhere with me," and then looks about the shop.
Yes.
He says, "You'd be surprised, my man. Here, Mel, show him around. I gotta go talk with my buddy here, and we gotta do some business." And he kind of like puts an arm around you and like drags you off a bit forcefully. Fortune.
Okay. Yeah.
Clearly, like with the intent to get you so you guys can have a private conversation.
Yeah.
And Mel is like typing on her compad, and she looks up and she's like, "He always does this. Come on, let me show you." And she like puts the compad like in her little holster, and she begins like showing you around. He's like, "So it depends on what you're looking for. We got over here, we have a different variety of paint schemes depending on what your class of ship is, depending on all of that. The prices you can see just below, and then over here." And she gives you like starting to give you like the grand tour of the facility. And again, it's mostly how I explained it, where it is a lot of people who is a lot of like bits and pieces and customized stuff for your ship, like paint jobs or different ways that things look. There's probably a couple of like maybe like enhancements to engines or that kind of stuff, and then like in kind of a very small portion there's like, and we also do repairs, like in an exclamation point at the end of
Yeah.
something else, right? Like it's like, we have all of this and all of this and all of this, and we also do repairs, exclamation point, almost as an afterthought. And so so with that, you guys are led on this tour. Does anybody say anything while she's going through the whole spiel somewhat haphazardly and lazily?
This is kind of outside of Oscar's wheelhouse. He's probably just trying to soak up what he can. I don't think he asks her anything directly.
Okay. What about you, Gogo?
He spends a lot of time on chips, but this does not particularly interest him.
I think that Gogo keeps this is not giving her confidence about this in particular shop's abilities to fix said ship. So I think she just keeps looking back at the ship like longingly. Like if they go past a window or something, they'll like show it, and she's like,
But notably, like, there's probably a lot of racing things in here, Gogo. So this is totally in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, 100%.
But the whole fixing the ship might be a little more suspect than...
A little worrisome about that, but do they have, like, and I know you probably explained this, but are there actual rigs that they seem to be working on?
Like other ships that are in dock or whatever?
Well, like racing rigs, if I notice that they're like specifically racing ships.
So there is probably a couple of like not dossier is not the right word, but probably a couple of accolades. There's currently not any here right now, but there's probably like a small like maybe like trophy case that has a couple of accolades from clearly some racing rigs. Both astronautic and other.
Do I recognize any of the names?
Ooh. Roll me a culture spacer roll. Roll me a culture spacer check.
Based on?
Intelligence. Yeah, I don't think you do recognize any of the names here. The racing circuits are pretty big, right? And you've been out of the game for a
I
little
just
bit.
I thought maybe.
Yeah. You probably do with the 7 though recognize a couple of the races. You probably recognize the. Let me grab one here. Is this the one I want? Nope. So obviously, one that you do recognize is you recognize one from the Thune circuit.
Is what? You cut out.
You recognize one from the Thune circuit.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
Um,
So yeah, I think I'd walk up to the case, kind of ignoring her, and like scan over the different races and the different plaques, and just say, "Oh yeah, I remember that one. That's a bitch. That fourth turn will get you every time." Just like to myself, if anyone's listening.
yeah, and I think mid droning sentence to Oscar, right? Who is the only other individual here? Wait, no, Dr. Fisher, you're here too, right?
Chan's with us too.
Oh, and Chan, right. And Dr. Fisher, are you part of this, or did you wander off by this point?
I'm probably looking at some kind of mechanical equipment.
Okay. So as she's giving this like droning speech to Oscar and Chan, who is listening, Chan is listening intently, like soaking up every bit of knowledge, but because he's kind of forced to, not because of any other reason that he's interested or anything. Because, chemical reactions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to make sure you were aware. And so...
For the 100,000th time.
Hey, Megan, you have full control over...
I'll get there eventually, don't
I was going to say, hey, Dr. Fisher, speaking of, do you think you should be working on some stuff instead of just standing here
Fisher, I found
idly?
these other cool handful of items. Perhaps you could look at them sequentially for me.
And for multiple hours at a time.
I think that the danger here for Oscar is if Gogo ever finds out what Dr. Fisher's plate actually does look like.
Oh yeah, shit's gonna go missing, just so you're clear. Those things you're analyzing, yeah, they're gonna go missing.
Megan, at least you have control over your character. It's only my character that I control.
God damn it. Why are all these games just going downhill for me lately? I don't know what's going on, man.
What do you mean? You have full control over your character.
Yes,
anyway.
That is the one thing I can say this game has going for it currently. I cannot get the games I am in.
So, she stops mid-sentence and like turns to you and she says, "Oh, the Thune circuit? It's all right."
Excuse you.
She kind of like, she just stares at you kind of blankly and says, "Mid-level."
What? You a racer?
No. She kind of looks at her jumpsuit and says, "Do I look like one?"
Right. Then how'd you know?
And she kind of like, she gives that like acknowledging like, "Oh," and she's like, "Ah, racer. I should have guessed. It's mostly the hair. It's always the hair."
She's just like dead stare, dead in the eyes, like you have offended her, like no other.
Yeah, no, and she's just like, she just nods and she's like, "Somebody's got to fix your rigs, don't they? Well, I'll tell you what stresses him out the most." And she's like, "This one over here," and she like swipes past a couple, and she's like, Nagor circuit. Crazy. You gotta dip in through the atmosphere. It's actually corrosive. Rigs have to have an actual shield, like they actually have to have armor plating to take it, which weighs them down, causes the whole balance to be off. Most pilots can't even handle the difference in weight of the ship.
If you're good, it doesn't matter the circumstances.
She's like, "Yes, but you have to be good in the circumstances."
She just kind of like looks at her nails and kind of like rubs them on her shoulder. She's like, I could have done it if I was in it long enough.
Yeah, and I think that, like, as you're staring at your nails, Oscar, you probably pick up on this. You see, like, a hard eye roll, and then back to droning conversation about ship parts and all the other things that they do.
Oh, he is not touching that with a 30-foot pole.
Oscar immediately teleports back onto the ship.
Abort! Abort!
If he had his power armor on, his HUD would start flashing.
In fact, you're probably like close to unbuttoning it just in case.
Yeah.
He just kind of like has his hand at his side.
Yeah, totally. But Gogo, maybe that stirs up, those old feelings of the circuit and racing and.
Yeah, I think that she stands there for like a long moment, like, admiring the rest of them and daydreaming, as it were.
Yeah, and there's probably also part of the page that gives you a live feed as well. And there is probably, well, I guess it's not technically live. It had to be recorded and then sent because of the way shit travels.
Recorded race.
Yeah, a recorded recent race. And it's probably the it's totally this one. So it is the Dakani circuit, which is in 0507, which if we look on the map is right down here. This one right here. You probably don't know much about it based on your previous role just a second ago. Just on a whim, you could definitely do more research. So the Dakani circuit is seen as one of it's probably under the list of outlaw races, which is basically like the kind of unsanctioned level of the racing circuit. Thune is probably also in the outlaw races, right? And the thing about Dakani is, if we look at it here real quick, 0507, Dakani it's a ringed planet, so it has a bunch of like a big asteroid belt around it, and so it's considered one of the more deadly races that exist in the sector. Estimated at least 2 people die every time they do it. And you're probably watching this, and as they're like zooming in and out and going in between the asteroids, and the reason why the race is so hard is because there's no map. It varies every day because of obviously the way that asteroids are spinning, and you just basically have to hit the checkpoints. And so even like during the race, the route can change. If you do one circuit and then you get to the second circuit, the whole route may be different because of the movement of the asteroids and all that stuff. So it's one of the more dynamic races in the sector. And I think that like as you're watching it, we probably hear the announcers and they're like screaming probably in like Japanese. But it's all translated into English. And it says, they're coming around the second turn, it's the final lap. Oh, it looks like he lost an engine. He's gonna... And when he says that, it just careens into an asteroid and just explodes and causes a bunch of other ships to have to, like, swerve out of the way and do all these different, like, recovery maneuvers. And you see, like, a bunch of times being, like, deducted for going outside of the course lines, right? Like, 0.1 second, 0.1 second, 0.3 second, 0.3 second, like, for all these people that are outside of the boundaries for so long for avoiding the crash. And then we hear the announcer, he's like, I don't know, Jim, do you see a space pod? And we see the camera like zooming in, like the camera ships are like looking for the ship, and then finally we see like the little jettisoned space pod kind of like just floating in space, and it zooms in on like the viewport, and you see the guy just hold up a thumbs up outside at the viewport, and everybody's like, oh, he's okay, woo, yeah, all right, yeah, and there's cheering and the whole thing.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, totally.
Yeah, she would have sat there and just watched the whole thing and just totally zoned everybody else in the world out for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oscar kind of is watching this also, and after some time he says, Is that about the gist of what you used to do?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a little bit harder, but I mean, and then I think she just goes into this huge expose about her olden days and how she used to do it, and if you will listen, she will spend.
Yeah, you see this guy? He's pulling the Cyclops maneuver. That's
Right,
where you
yeah,
flip
exactly.
over and catch the opponent in your gas trail, so they have to divert. It's all the different maneuvers and all kinds of different things that you can do.
Yeah, but this one here, he's doing something real smart. See those points he just got off? He's gonna make them up right here. Watch, you watch, and then
Yeah, and then they
insane.
bank the turn, and he cuts the line perfectly and passes him. Yeah, totally.
Still money to be made?
I think she kind of looks at you and a kind of sad, actually devastating look kind of comes across her face, and she's like, "Yeah, for some," and then she just kind of looks back down at the thing.
I heard the word unsanctioned. Never know.
God, what has gotten into you and Boomer these days?
He kind of cocks his head to the side and he's like, "Oh, I suppose nothing." And he just goes about it.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep.
So, during that whole scene where Mela's giving you the tour and probably finishes the tour, and as soon as she finishes, not even waiting for questions, pulls out the compat again. We see her, blow a bubble really loudly of gum, and then, she spins her hat backwards and, begins typing again. She's like, "Now, if you don't mind, I have to catch up on work." And, immediately begins working again, in twice the amount of speed that you saw her previously.
Does it look like she has a desk or workspace?
Yeah, she's probably behind the counter of the general parts portion of the store. I think one thing you notice, she appears to be the only other employee here. There doesn't appear to be anybody else working here currently.
On her way by, Gogo would just kind of, if she noticed she had all of her tools and stuff in a very specific way, she'd mess them up.
Sure, yeah. You move some displays slightly to the right, and so that's not centered anymore. Because mechanics fucking hate that shit.
Yeah, they're all OCD. She knows Boomer.
Yeah.
So she just walks over and she slightly skews some of the wrenches.
It has not even been. It has not been 20 minutes since you stated in full caps that you love her already.
Listen, that was before she said that I was basically a horrible racer. So
abrupt.
screw you guys.
I saw Megan loved her, and I had to change that, is what happened.
Yeah, come on. That's how
Well,
this goes.
you remember what happens to characters we love.
It's true. That's a good point. I'm surprised Chan's still alive.
Well, I don't think she loves Chan. I think she's trying to fix Chan so she can love Chan.
It's a very complex relationship we have.
I think that there is a note on her character sheet that says "Sweet Bae Chan" on it somewhere. So I
will not confirm nor deny that is on my character.
I find this to be an incorrect statement.
See, are you sure I want to fix Chan? Because there's a great degree of possibility that he just says, "Right, fuck this, I'm out. See you guys."
You know what? Part of Gogo hopes that's true. So.
It's true.
Yep.
That's a good point. So, we move on to Fortune. Jose kind of muscled you off, probably into the employee area, right?
Yeah.
Of the shop. And here we can see there is actually one other person that works here, just not in the shop portion. It's probably Jose's son.
Got it.
And you probably know about him, but probably you've probably met him because he's probably about 14. So for the first 4 years of his life, or some period between there, if it was just a visit or whatever, you've seen him. And Jose had him when he was very young, obviously, for that to be the case. And the kid is the kid's, he's working, probably like working on an engine or something, for like a smaller fighter class ship. And Jose kind of like muscles you in there, and he's like, you remember my boy Juan?
Yeah. Except he's a lot bigger.
Yeah, he's got them good genes, and he kind of like puffs his chest out with pride a little bit.
Yeah. And he's working in the industry just like his father.
He kind of like he chuckles, and he's like, yeah. Although his mama isn't too happy about it, she'd rather he went to school a bit more. And he kind of like looks over at his son, and his son just kind of like looks up and just shrugs and goes back to working.
I'm like, well, one day he'll be able to own his own shop, and then his mom can be as proud as she wants.
He's like, yeah, hopefully this one. And he says, I'm glad you're here, but I know I'd love to catch up, but business is business. I got mouths to feed. I didn't look at your ship, but what's wrong with it exactly?
Well, we took a smart missile to the nose. Minor damage, nothing crazy. Some fire, and I think it knocked off the front landing gear.
You rope all that into the same.
Listen, it was a really smart missile.
Yeah, and I think he's like, man, who's shooting you guys? It looks like a West. He kind of like looks out the window. He's like, that's a West Wind frigate, yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of like almost like does the eye side to side, like, is there more to that, or
like look at the ship, look back at me, look back at the ship, look back at me.
Yep.
Like,
He's like, all right, I can get the parts, not a big issue. I can get the materials. Obviously, we'll have to do an assessment, but I got to get the manpower if you want it done, in a timely manner. It's going to cost a little bit extra. I don't have the funds exactly to hire them right off the top. But
so
I can give you a discount, maybe make up for the cost.
How much of it? Well, before we get started, the landing gear is priority. So if you can get that fixed and maybe a little extra or whatever, But,
yeah, I think he kind of like scratches the back of his head, and he's like, yeah, maybe. I could definitely get that done, maybe even myself. But for the damage, I really got to get it estimated before I could tell you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hold on, I'm looking up times here, because that's the one thing I didn't look at. Oh, up to 10 hit points per day. So he can actually do it. He's going to have to hire some help, which increases the cost, but he's essentially going to give you a discount to cover that.
Yeah.
And he can do it all by the end of the day. So, like, you guys could rest and then fly out in the morning, basically. Takes
cool.
one 24-hour period to do that. Because you can heal up to 10 hit points in one 24-hour period with appropriate manpower.
Yeah.
Now, you could attempt to pull the friend card here and roll a business check.
I was gonna wait till he gave me an estimate because I don't want to like super lowball him.
Yeah,
and then piss him off.
He probably, in the choice of fairness to him, gives you because it's only one day of work. It's just he's gonna have to hire some temp labor, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't that expensive. But he probably gives you an estimate of like he probably actually hits it right on the nose, $4,000, 4,000 credits, with the discount added and then the manpower added back in.
Okay, I'd be like, Jose, we've been friends for how long? No, I'm not asking for free work. I'm willing to pay you for what you do, but Come on.
Yeah, and so he kind of like, he scratches the back of his head, and he's like, I could take a little more, I don't know, it's like, sometimes I don't, it depends on how much I'm going to have to, business check is 7. I think that he probably needs an 8 on this one. He's got some extenuating circumstances. As you can tell, his shop isn't very prosperous.
Yeah.
So he's probably like, I could probably do it, but it might take, I don't know, maybe an extra day, or, I could get the parts shipped in probably cheaper, but that'll take who knows how long. I might be able to borrow some that I could pay back. And like, he's like making excuses.
Yeah.
Like hoping for you to just be like, no, don't worry about it. If you don't, your options available with the 7 are, you could make it 2 days, and he could take, let's say, 10% off of it.
Okay. I'd be like, give me 1 second, and then like on my little compad, send a message to the crew. Just say, can we stay for 2 days? And then wait for a response.
You would get one back from, a message back from Oscar saying, to what benefit?
To fix the ship. Completely.
Isn't that what we came for?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know the other option.
Oh,
so, like,
okay. Oh, well then I just be like, oh yeah, well then we can do 2 days. That's fine, no problem.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they don't know the other option, so you could probably just say, "Hey, we're gonna be here for 2 days."
Yeah, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, they don't know the other option.
Oscar doesn't know that you're deciding between anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no one does.
Yeah, so belay my last, and I'd be like, okay, well, can we do it for like 34? I know you said 10%, but I mean that's like 15% off. So
yeah, so he says, he's like, yeah,
and
but
what if up front I cover your extra labor cost?
he's like, well, you guys got a mechanic on the ship, right? If you could show us exactly what's wrong, I could hire 1 or 2 less dudes, make it cheaper.
Yeah. Boomer would actually probably be happier showing you than letting anybody else do the work.
All right.
Without knowing.
He's like, he nods and he's like, I could do it. 3,400, 2 days. I may not even need to hire anybody extra.
All right. Well, cool. I'll introduce you to Boomer.
Okay.
I'll walk you back up on the ship.
All right. And like he gives you another bro hug.
Yeah.
As to seal the deal, and you escort him back to
business
the ship. It's a brosness hug.
Yeah.
Got
it.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So 3,400 credits. You can get the whole thing repaired, but it's going to take an extra day. And Boomer's going to be indisposed during that time, helping.
He's indisposed anyways. NPC.
Basically, yes. All right. Cool.
So, what else is there for the next 48 hours to do on this station?
The teen has full amenities. You could do basically anything you wanted to do. Go drink, go have a party, go visit all the cuisine restaurants. You could take a shuttle down to the surface to see the farming subsidies or any, like, maybe tourist attractions they may have down there. You could get a nice spa treatment up here. You could go... You might be able to go pick up a mission somewhere. I mean, there is a West Wind portion of the facility here, although you guys are currently on a mission, so they probably wouldn't give you another one. But maybe a side mission, that's a thing you could go try and acquire. You could just carouse and see what's going on, see what the word on the alleyways, the word on the hallways is. The water cooler. Or whatever.
Yeah.
This is a fairly... Well, it's straight up TL5, right? Like
The infrastructure is straight up TL5. The guts of everything is TL4, though. Like,
did you say 3 or 4?
4. The facilities inside of the station are TL4, but the base infrastructure, probably including like elevator systems and stuff, are all TL5. You basically just instantly transport to any level of the, like, not actually teleport, right? But like you instantly, like, the thing moves so quickly and you don't realize you're moving because of the grav in it. Like, you're just instantly on a different floor almost. It's probably
Would
like
there
the most
be-
notable thing.
Would there be any like psychic resources here, or is that
I don't know if Fatine is into, like, I don't know if they focus a lot on psychics. So Fatine is close enough to what's that planet called? It's the Space Taco planet. The 0300? Yeah, Caballero. So Fatine is close enough to Caballero that any psychics or anything, any resources probably get drawn to there. Because Caballero is 0300 right here.
well, it is also, on the same hyperlane as Raimondi, though,
Correct.
and is a major hub.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So
But
what do
I
you?
could see
I guess.
them
I guess what I
gravitating
ask
away.
is what I should ask is what do you mean by resources? Is what I should ask.
I am still looking for a skilled meta-psionicist.
Okay.
But if I'm barking up the wrong tree here, Oscar's just going to go find a pub.
I mean, it's within 2 jumps of Raimondi, which is a large psychic hub, and within 3 jumps of Caballero. Probably not a whole lot of, like, people live here. They might have, like, vacation homes. Like, there might be some rich psychic professor with a vacation home somewhere on Fatine that is cool with the thin atmosphere and, has a breath mask or something.
Sure. Okay, well, that's all right. No big deal. I think we're going to go with the carouse option.
Okay.
Oscar, dismisses. Everyone appears to be in relatively good hands here, so he dismisses himself and says, I will be on comms. Like, let me know if anything comes up.
I'd probably be like, hey, before you leave, while you're out walking around, see if you can hear anything about anybody transporting or picking up or buying or selling beta.
What in the hell is a beta?
Well, it's
You were in the room when that conversation occurred.
it's drugs.
I don't know if he would have caught the slang for the...
Well, he described it as it was a hallucinogen that also acted as like a form of PCP that acted as a stim that enhanced the user's abilities to some degree, but also caused them to hallucinate. It was also kind of hyper lethal in large doses.
Fortune, are you asking me to buy drugs?
Absolutely not. I'm asking you to find someone buying, selling, transporting, or picking up drugs.
I will see what I can do.
Hey, don't go. I'm not saying go out of your
dangerous.
way, but if you hear something about it, call me immediately.
Your ears are open, Fortune.
Thank you.
Ear holes are open. Fantastic. Excellent. We haven't spoken with Dr. Fisher. Dr. Fisher, what are you doing?
I was probably looking at some of the mechanical arms and such, because obviously there's a very close connection between them and medical arms.
You could probably find a medical supplier here if you wanted to, like, get something
To rob
specifically.
them?
I mean, yeah, I don't. You have how many credits again?
I have.
You know, if you wanted to rob them.
70.
That was-
It was so funny.
To peruse.
Yes, I'm. All I can do is window shop. At
The
this
shittiest
juncture.
kind of shopping.
That's literally 90% of most people in the world, though. Like, if we're being honest, like
I
There
do
are-
not commonly browse pages that sell Ferraris and Lamborghinis. All right,
right. Yeah.
that is not something I would ever do.
Right, yeah, no. There are. I think all of us have done it at least once. Just like, let's go to the mall and look around. We don't really want anything, but it's a convenient place to go and walk around and look at stuff that we might want sometime in our lives.
It's a fantastic place to people watch.
It's true. It's true. It's also a good place to play Pokemon Go if you still play that game.
Jordan,
Yes.
I go to the mall maybe not even every year. Just out of game. I hate being at malls so
Good.
much.
Good. You are essentially
Well,
at a large mall right now.
Well, I can one up you. I've never been to a quote unquote mall.
No way.
He lives on an island. Remember?
We go to shops, not malls.
Oh
Hmm.
boy, it's funny. How do you see Santa
Wait.
Claus then, Will?
Right?
And
Will-
who's-
Will-
Or,
doesn't
or meet
see-
the Easter Bunny.
right?
If you steal medical supplies, you're on his naughty list. You don't see Santa.
It's true. It's true. Dr. Fisher has a surprising dark side to him.
Yep, totally.
I was about to ask, I don't know why we're trying to steal medical supplies from the team when we have 30 tons of medical supplies in the back of our ship.
You sure do.
Skim off the top a little.
You sure do have 30 tons of medical supplies in your ship.